The JSS students, how are you? I hope you're doing well. And since we discussed last Tears of Joy, it's been a while. Now today I'm back with this book, and I hope you remember where we stopped last. Yeah, so if I can remember well, last time we talked about Tears of Joy, chapter 4, 5, and 6. Now today you have to go through chapter 7, 8, and 9. I hope time will allow this. I don't like tiring you because I know you need some span of concentration that is based on the psychological research. So as we begin chapter 7, I'll assure you we are talking about Okoyo, who seems to have dozed off because he has worked so hard. You remember what work he does in Madame Aliso's house? Yeah, so he had a bit of slept. Now he realizes that it is a bit late because he's supposed to conduct a lot of activities at the same time. He loves watching news. Do you love watching news? So why does he love watching news? It's because he wants to be up to date on current affairs. It is good to be up to date with current affairs. Do you like news, or you just love listening to music, and then when it comes to news you don't want to listen to that? So it's important that sometimes we watch the news. Now he gets up from the couch and switches on the television. Yeah, there's a program, the Youth Affairs in Development program, which he really loves, and it happens immediately after the news. All right. So this is a program that the boy loved so much because it offered him empowerment, discussion to do with education, and all that. As we proceed on to page 76, we realize that the program offers him a lot of attention. And on this day, there's an interview happening with the woman representative of Moka sub-county and the presenter. Now, if something is being mentioned in relation to where you live on TV, would you pay attention? Now, we realize that this boy pays a lot of attention, and he gets the conversation between this lady and the TV presenter focusing on the street children. Now, he's very keen about it because remember at once he was a street child for a short period. So there is an affirmative action that the woman representative wants to offer to the street children and take them to school. Now, she explains that children on the streets do not create the problem themselves, it's the society, the relatives who fail to take care of these kids, and they throw them out of houses, and even the owners of houses would do the same. Do you remember those who were thrown out of the houses? Okoyo was amongst them. Now, we also see her explaining that when people are orphans, the family members do not love taking care of them. Actually, we look at the lives of Okoyo and the sister and Afandi, and we realize they went through this. Now, as the program proceeds, Mheshimiwa indicates that she's interested to educate these children, and she's ready to build a home where they can be staying, and that's a rescue center kind of. And when children are living here, they'll be going to school. And she's ready to have them, only that she has a problem of how she will talk to them. So Okoyo is very happy about this, and he wants to finish his tasks, then go talk to the kids in the streets. Now, when he moves out of Madame Aliso's house and goes to the streets, of course, he finds a boy seated on the culvert. Do you know what the boy's name is? All right. So we see that boy over there, Peter, and Okoyo goes talks to him, but he's a bit resistant. He does not want to talk to Okoyo. Remember, he does not know Okoyo in particular, and he thinks maybe he's just snitching on him so that he can explain to the police the hiding place for the street children. You know, the fights between the police and the street children. All right. So we actually see Peter resistant to talk to him, but he later opens up and says that his group has laid him off and he is supposed to live on his own. At first he thought that Okoyo is recruiting, but Okoyo explains he's not recruiting, and he's a bit afraid to talk to him more. And so We move to chapter 8, where we have Okoyo who is walking in the street and it's very dusty, it is very hot. Why do you think he's walking in the streets? He has that hope of talking to many other street boys and hoping that maybe they'll be ready to take up education. So we see he does not have even anything to offer the boys. He has only 20 shillings, possibly to buy vegetables for Madam Alizo. So he sees the street children and they're huddled somewhere and he's whistling. Remember, the street boys really defend their space, and so they ask him, "Who are you? Why are you whistling in our space?" I'm so sorry. So we realize that when they ask this, Okoo is a bit, knows actually how to deal with this, and he knows that he cannot be careless and arrogant. And these boys, even though pathetic, dirty, in rags with plastic bottles and all that, he has just to know that they normally charge people taxes, sometimes they make people pay fees, sometimes they carry weapons like knives, pieces of metal, and stones, and even catapults. So he's aware of that, and he cannot talk to them rudely. But at the same time, he has to be firm, as a way to show that he's not afraid and he has to stand his ground. So, these boys, they are questioning him why he's whistling, and he's telling them what they'll do. And the leader, he demands that he wants to talk to the leader, Micah. So, Micah takes a while as a boy with a scarfy boy, remember, with a scar on the cheek. He asks what Okoyo wants with them. And Okoyo holds his hands up in a gesture of peace. He tells them he's not there to offer them charity, but he's there to explain to them the new education that is about to be offered by the women rep. The Micah thinks that he's lying, but at some point, as Okoyo insists, he stands up and, some of them are asking, go to school. School is not for us, we are street children. But Okoyo says, what do you gain in the streets anyway? If the county government is offering us this, let's go for it. And the leader indeed realizes that we only eat from dustbins and there is not much we benefit. So let's listen to him. And so they begin to talk. Do you know which group this was? Wazito group. You know what that word means? Okay. So we see that Okoyo, once he has started his mission, he's so determined, and he says he does not want any conflict with the madam in the 3 weeks. He will have to do his work in time. He'll wake up very early. He will avoid all trouble. He'll scrub his floors to gleam. He washes the dishes to sparkle. And he is perfect in his work. Though tired, he will still go on because he knows the ambition that is ahead is great and there is hope in future. So he struggles with the hardships, but every afternoon he has to volunteer and meet other street children with the help of Micah, and other men. And whenever it's difficult, he has to call upon the police. So one day he goes to meet the Shujas group, and that is a street girls group. And he's so shaken because he has never dealt with a group of girls on the streets. So when he reaches the part where there are girls, there is a thin girl who approaches with a toothy smile, and she's snarling like a cub stalking a prey and pushing hands in the pockets that do not actually are torn. So when you look at page 90, that's what you'll see. And you see the girl asking why the boy is so rude at them. And so Okoyo is a bit shaken because he has never met a woman who is a fighter. Recalling the sister Afandi is very gentle and cries at the little hut. The mother was also very gentle. Madam Alizo, despite yelling at him, he's not that strong. She's not that strong. So Okoyo, realizes that these girls are about to attack and tells them to stop right there. And the girls are asking what the silly boy is talking about. And she says, "You can't call me silly." And they say, "What will you do?" So they go almost, when he says that, the girls are almost attacking, and he screams his lungs out. Then he is very clever. He tells the girl, the leader, that if you want us to fight, then just come you alone, because you cannot make other girls to protect you, and they do not even know why we are fighting. So the girl goes on to want to fight with him, Okoyo, and it happens that Okoyo has learned some defense mechanisms. You know, sometimes you have to learn this defense tactics, yeah. So she really pushes, or rather uses, the basics of karate and judo on this girl, and the girl screams and says, "No, not too hard, let's talk, brother." So we realize that even though she rejects that she will not apologize, she realizes that Okoyo is not just a soft person. And as they go on and she's arguing, the police come up, and the police was winning. So they are scared, but they stand and they listen to what Okoyo has to say. And as Okoyo tells them they are about to be taken to school, they argue against it, because they are saying there was an NGO that came about, collected their girls, but they are almost going to be trafficked. Yeah. So Winnie, the police, assures them that those who are conducting such scenes were arrested, and so they are safe. Now, when we come to chapter 9, we will realize that Okoyo has actually planned now to come out of Miss Aliko's home, and he composes a song to indicate his life, that he's been, the mother slept, the father is sick, and the father will be well. But now he washes dishes, rinses clothes, mops floors, cooks. But now he will not break his back, because he has a mission and a vision. Do you know the vision that he has? Now, a week after Okoyo meets Wazito, he takes upon himself to visit Moka sub-county offices. And he knows that they would decline, the authority would decline, so he's very clever. He goes very nervous but stern, and is able to convince the guard into allowing him in, and later on talks to the authority in the office and explains whatever was happening. He even explained that he's working for a teacher, and even he's underage, he's not being paid. And the authority tells him that you are also a criminal, because you got that job voluntarily and you never reported. And so after lengthy talk and realizing that Okoyo is going to be helpful in the mission the woman rep wants, he's congratulated. Yeah. And we see that there is a plan in this office that Okoyo helps them to gather the street children, and they meet in the hall. And we see later on the meeting being held, Okoyo in charge, and people are streaming into the hall so that they can meet. Within the same chapter, this is where we see that the Wazito group, the Shujaz, and all other street children have decided to come for the meeting. So have you seen the efforts of Okoyo? So on Tuesday morning, Okoyo now goes to school. Yeah. And do you remember the boy Lucas, the son of Madam Aliko? He was a very arrogant and careless boy. He's in this class, and you can see Okoyo knocking, and Lucas is shocked that this boy steps in his class. Okoyo is a bit nervous, but he focuses. And we can see as he settles, he's very grateful that he's got another chance to study. For those of you who are in school and you're not taking it as something that many people miss, remember there are people out there who miss school and they really wish they could be given a chance to pursue education. Yeah. Now we are told that during the games time in the dining hall, Okoyo surprisingly sees Afandi and he shouts. And so they meet in excitement, hug, and everyone is staring at them as they almost cry. That is where the tears of joy come in. Now, Madam Aliko, we are told, as Okoyo's employer, is charged in the court of law for having employed an underage. and she's fined 100,000 shillings. She is also asked to pay Okoyo. Remember, she was not paying Okoyo his salary, double his dues. Afandi's employer, on the other hand, decides to go to the children department and take this girl under her custody and offer basic education. That's why she's now in school. They had signed and adopted her, and they had decided that they'll take care of her because of her good behavior, and they would allow her to be visiting the father in town, and they were even looking for the brother. Do you see now what it means when you are a good boy or a good girl? When you behave well, people love you, and obviously you'd get what you deserve. So bye-bye for now. We've talked about this book from the beginning to the end, and I hope you can actually remember the discussion on Tears of Joy. Later on, we'll be talking about now themes and styles and character or character traits. If there is something you've not understood about Tears of Joy, feel free to ask. Bye-bye for now.